Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Coach JS, or JS Method, you guys may know me as, and today we're going to talk about how to get out of gold from mid lane. So I've been working as a professional coach for about a year now. I coach lots of clients daily, hundreds and hundreds throughout the months, and probably thousands over the past year plus now. And we're going to talk about what gold is from my perspective, what skills people gain, and what skills I coach to get out of gold up into platinum, and then the most common mistakes I see holding people back into gold. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is what I see as gold and trying to get the right perspective about gold. Now, to understand the numbers, in terms of the whole player base, gold 4 is about top 40%. So if you're in gold, you are better than half of the ranked community. And again, ranked community, like there are more people who just don't play ranked. So you are better than the average league player if you're in gold. So this means that this is a good start. Usually if you're in gold, it shows you've put in a decent amount of time into the game, right? You probably know what most of the champions do in your lane, if not all of the champions in the game. And you probably know build paths for your main champion. You probably have a rough foundation, a very, very rough idea of the foundation. So with all that in mind, it's important to understand that gold is almost like, I view it as like the beginning of the mountain. You know, up to gold, you're on your way to the mountain. But now that we're in gold, we're like ready to start the real climb. We really get to play League of Legends now. We're going to really get into the details. The details are going to really matter. The small things are going to start to matter more and more as we climb past gold into platinum, into diamond. So yeah, gold is a good start. But I still view it, we're still a long ways from actually having a strong view of the game in any sense. We have a very rough picture of what we think the game is, and we have a very rough foundation, right? Like, if we view a league as like building a house, right? Maybe, okay, that's an awful house. Let's view it as building a house, right? I view in gold, you may have the foundation done, and you may have a rough idea of this foundation. Now, it's time to start building the house. And we have to build the framework for a good house. And then we need to keep adding on to the foundation, making sure this is stable. So this is how I feel gold. Good. We're at a good start. And now let's get into the details if we really want to keep climbing. So how are we going to build from this rough foundation we talked about? How are we going to start building the framework for our house? How are we going to solidify our foundation? So once we are gold and we know what all the champions do and we know what champions we like and we've narrowed it down to what we really want to do with the game, a lot of the game is going to become mental. A lot of the game is going to be, well, okay, to climb past gold, we really have to get into the details and we have to refine these details. Do I actually have what it takes to do that? Do I actually want to do that? Because it's going to take work. If you want to hit platinum, platinum is roughly the top 10% of the community. If you want to reach the top 10% of the community, you have to do things the other 90% aren't willing to do. Whether that's, play a certain number of games or stay disciplined to a certain champion pool or actually work on your fundamentals and hop in practice tool and practice last hitting and practice solidifying the foundation so you're actually able to build on top of it. So you can see here, I write, most gold players understand enough of the game to be a platinum player. Like, you know what the items do. You know what the champions do. You've heard of what freezing is and what pushing is and what shoving is and what roaming is. And you know what dragons are and you know what Elder Dragon does and you know how much Baron is worth. You know all of these things, but we tend to have very poor mentals or approaches or philosophies to the game in the CLO. So our goal is to create a good sustainable system. The other half of the battle, the other biggest difference I see from gold up into plat and even high platinum is lane phase dominance. Here at this point is when we're really going to try to learn how to win a lane. Up until gold, lane phase doesn't matter as much because it's like there's so much stuff going on. Kills will just get ran into you. As long as you know how to press your buttons and you know how to play your champion a good amount, champion mastery is often enough to bring you up into gold and even high gold. But now we're really going to work on dominating lane phase and then snowballing that advantage we get in the first 10 minutes. So here on this first slide, I want to talk about this first half, mental and creating a good system. Here, this is a picture of a spreadsheet I made called the 3-block system. And the 3-block system, I actually stole from Coach Curtis. Three block system. I'm not sure if he has a video about it. But this whole idea is all Coach Curtis, so I appreciate it. The spreadsheet is something I made, and I'll have that linked in the description if you want to copy it. And basically the system is, you're going to limit our play sessions to 3 games. Well, why 3 games, JS? Why 3 games? 3 games because you can only focus for a certain amount of time, right? Think about an actual sport. You can only practice basketball, say for 2 to 3 hours before your body gets tired and your brain gets tired and the practice is no longer meaningful and effective. So what we're going to do is limit our sessions so we don't wear out our brain and we're making sure we're getting as much value out of the games we play as possible. So we're gonna limit to 3 games. 3 games comes out to about 2 hours. I think we can work up to playing that many games at once. Anything past that and the game starts to get really inefficient. So we're gonna lock ourselves to 3 games. Now, when you play your games, you're also gonna do a little bit of recording. You're gonna record how intense, your intensity, and what your intensity is just how focused you were. So if you were really, really focused and you were just in the zone and you were dominating everything and you felt really good and you felt like you were really working hard, that would be a 10. If you had, YouTube up on your second monitor and you're watching a video and you're not playing focus at all and you died to a bunch of ganks and you had no vision and you were just trolling really hard, that would be like an intensity of 1. Intensity basically means how hard you worked and how much you kind of focused. Then you can write down what happened, and then you can take some notes and you want to preferably do a review. I do the reviews after I play my games. I think Curtis likes to do his reviews. What he'll do is he'll play a block and he'll do his reviews from the last block's games. So he'll queue up for his block and then he'll review last games. Anyways, this is an example of a system that you can take that is really sustainable that you can build on. It makes sure that you're limiting your practice sessions so you're not kind of playing in an addicted fashion and playing in a toxic manner. It makes sure that you're being aware of how much value you're getting out of your games because you're kind of paying attention to how focused you are. And it facilitates you writing notes and kind of learning that way. So having a good system like this is super, super important for kind of getting out of gold, doing what 90% of the player base isn't willing to do. This is an example. So that's part of mental, is having a system like this. Other parts of mental include having a philosophy to solo queue and like taking responsibility. That is a really, really big part of mental. And here, let me use the text tool here. Responsibility. Being able to go into a game and say, all right, I may not control whether we win or lose, but I am in complete control of how I perform. And if I'm behind CS, that's my fault. If I don't do damage, that's my fault. If I don't win lane, that's my fault. If I die to a jungle gank, that's my fault. Extreme ownership, responsibility. That's an example of approach and philosophy that a lot of people in this ELO bracket tend to lack. Oftentimes, gold players will come to me and they'll be like, Coach, yes, it's ridiculous. You can't expect me to win this game. And it's like, yeah, I can't expect you to win this game, but you played extremely poorly. You're still a gold player. You can go back and learn from it. I don't want to hear you complain about your teammates. I don't want to hear you complain about all this other stuff. It's not conductive towards you improving. If complaining about your teammates worked, I would say complain all day. I would open up a hotline, I would take calls, and I would let you guys complain to me all day. I'd sit here and I'd be like, oh yeah, tell me how bad your jungle was. Tell me how hard you got inted. But guess what? It doesn't work, so stop doing it. What does work and what does get results consistently is taking ownership and saying every single game, there are things that I can improve. And it works, so go do it. So that's part of the mental, that's part of the philosophy. There are other traps that people have. I have a whole playlist of mental stuff, so feel free to check that out. That'll be in the description as well. But mental is half of it. Now, the next half is lane phase dominance. So I tell people that, especially in this ELO, and this is a picture I took from my account, but if you're not winning lane 8 out of 10 of your games, or this is just 80%, right? If you're not winning lane 80% of your games, then you don't deserve to climb and you need to look back at lane phase. So now the question is, how do I check who won lane? So this is what I recommend doing, is going onto op.gg, go to a game, click this little arrow so you get these little 4 tabs, click the etc., and this will show you graphs. The gold by acquired graph is the most important one. Looking at 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and 15 minutes are the 3 points that I look at personally. And you want to see who's winning lane here. And then your definition of winning also changes based on who you're playing. So there's a couple things that go into this. Know what is winning, right? This is something that, like, if you're playing Annie, how much gold you need to be ahead is going to be different than if you're playing Kale. Right? Because if you're playing Kale, you just want to be even at 5 minutes. You just want to be even at 10 minutes. You want to be even at 15 minutes. That's winning. If you're playing LeBlanc, you need to be ahead at 10 minutes. You need to be ahead at 15 minutes. And you kind of get a grasp for who is winning here. So yeah, the first thing you have to know is what is winning, and then check, did I win and how hard? If we take a look at this game, this is a game that I came out of it feeling really, really good about because I had really good teammates and everything was good. But if you take a look, I wasn't actually winning as hard as I thought I was. And we had a successful kill here, but I actually lost some of my lead by doing something. So this means in this game, I can go back and review this, and there's probably something very, very valuable to look at around the 6 to 7 minute mark. So in this ELO, it's really important that we start reviewing lane phases. I don't recommend low elo players review all of their games because it's more important for you, especially in bronze and silver, to just get the games done. But around gold is when I'll start to introduce my clients to VOD reviewing. I'll say, every game where you didn't just dominate lane, let's go review the first 10 minutes and just skim through it and keep it short, right? Because we're just starting to build up the skill. In Platinum and Diamond and Masters, it becomes really, well, in Masters, it's like you have to. But in Platinum and Diamond, it starts to become more and more important. And we're going to review lane phase a little bit. So just start with every single game where you felt lane phase was even or you felt like you didn't win hard enough. Let's go back and let's review and check this gold graph to double make sure, double check. Were you ahead at 10 minutes? Were you ahead at 15 minutes? What happened, right? And then go back and review and see where you could have optimized it. Did you lose gold because you took a bad back? Did you have to take a bad back because you took bad trades? Did you take a really bad roam and they ended up snowballing off of plates and CS that way? Why did you get behind, right? And then make sure that you're ahead like this in 80% of your games. So those are the skills I think it takes to get out of Platinum. The most common mistakes I see from people, and it's kind of just a reiteration of what I've already said that kind of lead to this plateaued, hard stuck thing, is having a bad mental or a poor system. And again, I have a bunch of videos on this, so make sure you guys go check out that playlist. The next thing is focusing on the wrong parts of the game. Again, people will want to focus on team fights. They'll say, Coach JS, I lost this game because we lost this Baron fight. And it's like, no, you didn't. You lost the game because you trolled lane and then the game lasted 40 minutes. And by some miracle, you guys got to a Baron fight and then you lost the coin flip. Why was it a coin flip? It's because you lost lane. There's no other reason, right? So focus on lane phase. Win lane phase 80% of the time. Do not waste energy on teammates in late game, right? Late game is the accumulation of 10 people's decisions. You don't have direct control of that. Now, the one caveat I'll add here is if you are winning lane 80% of the time and you're still 50% win rate and you're still losing a lot, that probably means you're doing something really, really wrong in the mid and late game. Now, it's really hard to review mid and late game by yourself, so I'd recommend grabbing a friend or getting a coach and saying, what's happening here? Right? I'm not able to close out these games. But really, I would say the vast majority of my clients in this elo range need to work on how to win lane first. And then the third mistake I see pretty commonly is having too complicated of champions for gold. Now, anecdotally, I was an Irelia one trick in gold for years. I think it was like 6 years. It was all when I was in like middle school. And I would only play Irelia. And I was hard stuck gold for years. And one summer, I come to league and I'm like, you know what? I think I was like a senior in high school. And I'm like, you know what? I'm really tired of playing this game and being hard stuck gold. I'm going to set down Irelia. I'm going to pick up a champion that's really simple to learn. And I was playing top lane at the time, and I narrowed it down to I think it was like Shen, Garen, and Tryndamere. And I'm like, I'm just going to play these 3 champions because they're simple and they'll let me learn the game. And I'll be able to learn the macro and I'll be able to learn the lane fundamentals without being bogged down by champion mechanics and learning how to like fight the controller. And, you know, anybody who knows me now is I'm like a TRYND 2 trick. I play him mid now. He's like, I love this champion. And it started because, well, I started playing him and I got out of gold. It took me 6 years to just sit down at Aurelia and decide, you know what, I'm going to play a simple champion to get out of gold. Now, here's the best part. When I went to go play collegiate and, you know, I played in Diamond and Masters, Aurelia was actually one of my best picks. Aurelia got me to Masters once, right? Just Aurelia. And Aurelia opened up a lot of picks for me and showed me a new perspective of the game. But I was not ready for it when I was gold. I had to wait till I was diamond. I had to wait up until Masters. I had to wait until I actually understood the game a little bit. These high skill cap champions should almost be locked behind, like, you know how in like fighter games, like the characters are locked until you get to a certain point in the story or whatever. These high skill cap champions should be locked like that, but with rank. That's how you should view it if you really want to climb efficiently. So yeah, a lot of these people play champions that are too complicated, but really, you can still make it work. It'll make you take longer in this elo bracket. Make sure you have a good system. Make sure you're focusing on the correct parts of the game. Make sure you're taking responsibility, and you'll be able to climb with whatever you want to. I hope this video helps y'all get out of gold up into platinum. Let me know if you have any comments in the comment section. In the description, I have links to stuff like my Twitch and my sponsorship and the playlist on mental videos, so check that stuff out. I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.